I'm Jordan. Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. He is Spencer Linton live from Martinsville, Virginia. We now bring in our guest today, the voice of the Liberty Flames on the radio, Alan York. Alan, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just enjoy the preparation for this big-time matchup. We've not seen the likes of BYU on our campus ever. And so what you're hearing from Coach Freeze, even Kalani Sitake was talking about the biggest home game in our history of this program. It is legit, and the fans are really excited for it.
It's going to be awesome. BYU touching all the Christian notes this year with Notre Dame and now Liberty making the rounds, which is awesome. Obviously, they played in 2019. That was a one-score game. Now BYU's playing Liberty, who's 6-1, bowl eligible, and really interesting because obviously there's some close wins, a close loss at now number 13 Wake Forest looks really good. And Gardner-Webb was last week. That was a weird game. FCS team, 1-point game, Southern Miss. So how good is Liberty? It seems like the Flames are good, but how good?
How good is Liberty? We'll find out on Saturday. Definitely the competition ramps up with BYU coming into town. This is a team under Hugh Freeze, who's in his fourth year. His first year was that 19 game we talk about out in Provo. But he's a proven winner. And when you look at how many stops he's made, and if you can win at those number of stops, you're a pretty good coach. Now, this team, we'll talk about the quarterbacks in a minute. That seems to be the underlying theme this year. We've had 4 different quarterbacks that had played, mostly due to injury. But defensively, I do think the lion's share of the publicity should be for the defense because they're helping this team stay in a lot of games.
Alan, Liberty is a 2-point conversion away from being 7-0 this season with a win over Wake Forest, who has proven to be a very, very high-quality opponent. Is there something about Liberty and their ability to close games late? I mean, again, the loss happened to Wake and it was close, but other than that, the Flames have won the close games. What's been the key there for Liberty to close things out?
They have had a penchant for these close games and coming up with key fourth-quarter drives that have yielded points. And that's the same thing you can talk about last week with the 1-point win over FCS Gardner-Webb. And I think it's just a matter of there's some veterans on this team that have been through the fire many times. And when you look at close games that Liberty has had the last couple of years, one comes to mind, a late field goal to win at Virginia Tech. Big-time bowl win, blocking a field goal against Coastal Carolina a couple of years ago. So the veterans on this team, they've been through intense battles late in games. I think that has helped them get over the hump, if you will, with these tight games Liberty's had so far this year.
Any win over Coastal is a win for everyone, says every BYU fan after 2020. Not huge fans here. Okay, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Charlie Brewer, we are familiar with. Started at Utah, of course. Baylor before that. We saw him against BYU. Last year, the Cougars ended the streak against the Used. We love Charlie Brewer. Caden Salter has started. Also, Jonathan Bennett. You mentioned Nate Hampton as well. Bennett's 3-0 as a starter. Is he the guy on Saturday?
Time will tell. Was out at practice today, this week. Tuesday, the media is allowed to come for about 4 periods. Charlie Brewer, just update your fans. The second series of the opener at Southern Miss back in early September broke his bone in his right hand. That's his throwing hand. He had pins put in it. They said 6 to 8 weeks, which is coming up right now against BYU. He was back at practice, spinning it pretty well from what we could tell. So Coach Freeze actually met with the media today. I have not seen that video preparing for this show here today. But it would not surprise me to get Charlie Brewer some snaps in this game because Jonathan Bennett, although 3-0 as a starter, his completion percentage is not really where you would want a starting quarterback, although he does have a great skill set. So obviously we'll find out Saturday. I'm sure Coach Freeze has more for the media after his media session here today.
Alan, Liberty has the most takeaways of any team in the country, 18, which is just a remarkable number at this point of the season, 7 games in. Does it matter who the quarterback is if your defense can generate that many turnovers?
It certainly has not mattered so far. Going back to last year, you mentioned the 18 takeaways Liberty has so far through 7 games. They had 11 total all of last year takeaways. So in spring ball, they created this moniker, tips and overthrows we got to get those. And they have really bought into that. They even had T-shirts made for the defense. Coach Freeze will wear that around campus to remind everybody that mindset of we need to take the ball away. So they've been very aggressive with that. It hasn't meant that the tackling has been bad, so they're just grabbing at the football. Tackling's been pretty good this year, but it's something they've really taken to heart and has really shown so far.
And it's not just takeaways, it's sacks and TFLs, second in the country in those categories. It's also giveaways, Alan. It's been interesting. 18 takeaways, but 16 giveaways. So turnovers feel like a big story here. BYU has not taken the ball away a lot on defense, just 7 of those, but only 5 giveaways. Do you feel like turnovers are an equalizing factor in Saturday's game?
I certainly do. And you look at the 11 of those turnovers you talk about, 11 of those, almost 3/4 of them have been interceptions. And many of those have been on first or second down. And that has related into some discrepancies in the time of possession. So when Liberty's running the football, they've taken pretty good care of the football, 5 fumbles so far. But just, again, it's the erratic play of the completion percentage that has curtailed offensively what Coach Freeze wants to do so far. He's been very frustrated in the fact that his offense has not been as consistent as he has wanted going into the season.
Alan York is the play-by-play voice of the Liberty Flames. He's on BYU Sports Nation. Alan, can you give BYU fans an idea of how this Liberty community and alumni base is looking at this game with Coach Hugh Freeze saying this is going to be history, biggest opponent to ever visit Lynchburg and play football at Liberty? What's the atmosphere around campus, around the alumni base like right now as this game comes closer?
It's exciting. It's electric. It's a sold-out stadium. As of Monday, when we had our external meeting, there was a few berm seats available. So you're looking at 25,000 plus for what we play in Liberty. That's going to be a big deal. Syracuse was here back in 19. That drew about 19,000. But this game is going to be just off the charts. And you mentioned the spiritual foundation of both of these schools. Jerry Falwell Sr., who came out, when he founded this school 50 plus years ago, he said he wants Liberty to be what BYU is to the Mormon community and what Notre Dame is to the Catholics. He wants that to be for the Christian faith. And so it manifested itself. I really think that 19 game was one that everybody really got emotional about because his vision was being manifested. And then to have BYU come here to the Mountain, it only makes it that much more special for those fans coming on Saturday.
And Alan, it'd be one thing just to show up. It's another to be 6-1 and hosting BYU all the way across the country, which is a pretty cool experience. And Cougar Nation's going to be there, and it's going to be fun. All the Cougar fans are going to descend on the area. My sister lives 2.5 hours away. I'm saying, hey, you got to be at this game out of West Virginia. Slide down over to Lynchburg. It's going to be great. You mentioned time of possession. 5-0 when losing it this year for Liberty, which is crazy. Lost it in 6 of 7. The turnovers certainly weigh into that. I want to talk about points at home. Exactly 21 in all 3. Do you expect that exact number or more on Saturday?
History would state that. Who knows? And I think it all depends on the quarterback. Charlie Brewer, if he does get to play, he hasn't played since week 1. How rusty will he be in a game situation? Don't know. Jonathan Bennett, if he does start, obviously this will be the biggest game he's ever started in his career, and he's been here since 2019. So we're going to have to score more than 21 to beat BYU, that's for sure. And I know defensively there's some things that BYU's working through. And Liberty's going to have to do a much better job staying on the field on third down. They're among the worst teams in the country, only getting off the field at 32% on third down offensively. So that's going to have to improve. They have to sustain drives, which they've not been able to do as well as they wanted to so far this year.
Alan, what's the one thing that BYU fans that are going to make the trip to Lynchburg for the game on Saturday need to do other than watch football, or maybe the restaurant they need to visit in Lynchburg?
I will be honest with you. I just walked through my office is in our athletics facility right behind the football stadium. And we have one of our radio sponsors, County Smoke Barbecue. Ken Hess was actually at the stadium filling his drink cooler about 10 minutes ago when I walked through there. So I chatted with Ken. He's got a restaurant across town. So County Smoke Barbecue, I would recommend. And Ward's Road is the main thoroughfare right behind campus. That's where you're going to find your Olive Garden, your Texas Roadhouse, your Chili's, etc. And for those really want to be adventurous, Liberty has one of the few 365-day outdoor ski facilities. It's called Snowflex, and you can rent snowboards. You can do tubing down the AstroTurf layer of it. It's not a huge facility, but it's on top of the mountain right next to the LU monogram. So the Snowflex would be one. If you had some time, stop by there. And a couple of those restaurants I mentioned, including County Smoke Barbecue.
Hey, that all sounds amazing. I might be hopping on a plane this afternoon to get there. That's awesome. Alan, we appreciate the time. Should be a fun game coming up in Lynchburg Saturday. Thank you.
Tremendous coverage, guys. Appreciate the time, and have safe travels here in Lynchburg.
Thank you.